Come walk with me. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about stopping health insurance and my decision to stop paying the premium of health insurance about 5 months ago. And so I've been uninsured the last 5 months, and I do not plan on getting health insurance in the near future. I've been getting health insurance through Obamacare the last 5 or 6 years, and my insurance company has changed. I've forced to change a few times, and my last one was Florida Blue. And before you take any advice that I give in this video, please know that I'm not a financial advisor. These are just my opinions. It's what I'm doing for me, and I feel like it's the best decision. But for you, it may be completely different. For you, you may need health insurance, or you might not have any other choice. But for right now, I'm making that decision for me. If you're new here, this channel is all things improvement. I talk about improving relationships, career, weight loss, fitness, finance. I'm self-employed and I don't work for a company, so I have to get my own health insurance if I want it. Originally, 5 or 6 years ago, the premium payments that I was paying every month was halfway decent. The payments weren't bad, $220, $250 a month. That wasn't bad. Yes, my deductible was high. Deductible is what you have to pay out before the insurance starts kicking in. So my average deductible, $7,000 to $8,000 before my health insurance would kick in. One reason I started getting health insurance was because I had such bad health problems. My feet were swelling, and then I had to get on blood pressure medicine. I thought it was the safe thing to do to have health insurance. I don't make tons of money, but now in the last year, those premium costs have risen, and I'm paying up to $300 to $400 a month. And I just can't pay 20 to 25% of my income on health insurance. And unfortunately, I don't see a great future as far as the healthcare industry in the US and what our future is as far as bills. I think it's just going to get astronomically higher and higher. So I'm doing everything I can from this end to take care of myself through diet and exercising and not eating processed foods and not smoking, keeping my blood pressure down through diet and exercise. In the last year, I've lost 120 pounds. I feel great. I go walking every day now, and I'm doing everything I can to curtail any problems that I would have. I don't own a house. I don't have any significant assets. I'm relying on my increasingly good health, taking care of myself, being smart with my decisions, and just taking the risk of not having health insurance. In the future, if I can get my income up, if I start owning some assets, then I might look into getting insurance again. It might be worth it for me. But honestly, I'm depending on my good health, Medicaid, Medicare maybe in the future. It's possible in the future that the government may provide health care for all the citizens like they do in so many other countries. Don't get me wrong, I don't politically necessarily agree with that, but I'm going to take advantage of it if it is offered. After making the decision to stop my health insurance a few months ago, I've been at peace with it. I know I'm doing everything I can on this end to take care of myself. And I realized in 2018, while having health insurance, while having Obamacare, that the insurance company is not your friend. They're not there to protect you and to vouch for you. I had a situation where my kidney stopped, and I had to go to the nearest hospital. Unfortunately, that hospital was out of network. And what out of network means is that it's a hospital or a care facility that's not working with your insurance company, and they're not covered under your insurance company. But I had no choice to go to that specific hospital because it was an emergency. And from there, I was admitted to the hospital for a couple of days. My deductible for an out-of-network hospital or care was $12,000. And I thought, well, $12,000 is pretty bad. It's worse than $8,000, which is my regular in-network. You know what? This was an emergency, and that's okay. I'll pay the $12,000 over a payment plan or something. I'll be okay. Well, after I was out of the hospital, I got a bill for the whole $22,000 for being in the hospital for 3 days. They were charging me $9,000 for a CT scan that would normally cost the insurance company like $3,000 or $4,000. I called up Florida Blue and I said, what's the deal? I thought I was getting out of network. I'm sorry, but the hospital that you're in is not working with us. They're not honoring what we would suggest if you did have health insurance. And I'm like, what? Well, I thought you promised to cover me out of network. I have health insurance. They're like, you know, we're sorry, we can't help you. And I started calling the hospital. I'm like, look, I have health insurance. Can you work with me? Can you work with me on the price? No one would work with me. No one would talk to me. It was like talking to a brick wall. And I'm like, look, I don't want anything for free. I realized I was in the hospital. I realized that you guys gave me life-saving procedures. I want to pay but I can't pay $22,000, especially when I have health insurance and I'm paying $300 a month in premiums. What are you doing? I told them before applying for forgiveness for the debt, I told them, I was like, well, you know, I have health insurance. My income is limited. Don't you have something to help people who don't have health insurance? And she's like, sir, you have health insurance. We can't help you because you have Florida Blue. So I was being punished for having health insurance. After the fact, I'm getting bills in the mail for the emergency room. I'm getting bills from independent doctors, $1,000 here, $1,000 here, $1,000 here. And I'm not someone that will eat the steak and expect someone else to pay for it and not pay for that steak that I ate.
I just explained to you that you ate the steak. You went to the restaurant, you ate the steak. You didn't return the steak and say, I don't like the way this tastes. You ate it, and then you said, you know what? I've had better steak, I'm not paying for it.
I just wanted somebody to work with me. Long story short, that hospital had a forgiveness program that if you made a certain amount of money or you didn't make a certain amount of money, that you could be forgiven. And sure enough, I applied for it, and it took 2 or 3 months, and I was actually forgiven for the majority of the loan. Now, I did have to pay all those doctors in the emergency room and everything. I'm so happy that I was forgiven for that loan, and I'm grateful. But I also told myself that I never wanted to get in that position ever again. It took a couple of years to find the right diet program that would stop me from binge eating and stop not taking care of my body. And I document that in this channel. I document that on this channel so you can watch the videos and learn for yourself what I did. Don't get me wrong, there's things, especially as you get older, that we have no control over. You can get in an accident. You can get something that's terminal and you have no control over it. I get that. You got to realize just by living and breathing, there's no such thing as no risk. And to give you a quote by the famous author Helen Keller, this was a lady who was born without sight, who was deaf, very brilliant. And I'll read you what she says about security. Security is mostly superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. And then there's another wise quote. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. If God forbid something does happen, and I get in a situation where I have to go to the emergency room or the doctor, I have no problem going. I have no problem going and then maybe getting a payment plan or working it out or trying to get forgiveness or doing whatever I can. Another benefit of health insurance is they get special rates for their customers because they're all in a program. So things that you would normally pay, like a 9,000 CT scan, the insurance company would negotiate for you and that bill would only be $3,000. But keep in mind, as an individual, you still have that lobbying power. And you know what that lobbying power is? Your money. You need to work with me. I don't have the money. You got to think about, by the time I pay an $8,000 deductible, and again, deductible is what you have to pay out of pocket before your health insurance even starts kicking in. You have 365 days in a calendar year to spend $8,000, and guess what? When the next year comes around, it doesn't roll over and part of that $8,000 is being used. No, it's up for another $8,000. So for that new calendar year, you have to pay another $8,000 before your insurance starts kicking in. There's a lot of medical procedures going to your regular doctor that by the time you add it up won't be over $8,000. So you got to think smart and you got to work for yourself and you have to balance risk to reward. And please know, I'm not stating that there's no place for health insurance. You know, if you're making $50,000 or $60,000 plus dollars, if you work for a good company and the company pays for part of your insurance, if you have significant assets, property, mutual funds, things that can't be protected through bankruptcy or through being in debt, I completely understand it. Keep in mind, if you do own a home that you live in, there's homestead acts that protects you from medical debt and other debt. Most states honor that, so your house usually will be protected or a large chunk of your capital will be protected. I'm just saying, for me right now, at this time, in this place in my life, I imagine risk to reward. I feel like it's less of a risk not to have health insurance. Is it to say that up the road, if I start making a little bit more income, that it wouldn't be wise, and as I get older, it wouldn't be wise before I'm 65 and I can't get Social Security, that it would be wise to get health insurance? Most likely that time will come. But I probably would do the cheapest plan, like maybe the bronze plan that Obamacare offers. So my deductible might end up rising to like $10,000 or $11,000 a year and my premium might still be $400, but it might be cost effective for me to think about doing that. I'll tell you something that did upset me is when they passed that mandate several years ago about not having health insurance and that the government is going to fine you for not having health insurance. I think the cost is like either $800 a year or 1% of your income. I feel like that's unconstitutional because it's literally fining you for not having a product or a service or something the government provides. Now with the new administration in, I don't know, it looks like they're going to try to pass that fine again. If they do, they do. If it does pass, I'll reanalyze my thoughts on having health insurance. It might be more cost effective to have health insurance if I have to pay a fine every year. What your premium or deductible would be, if you don't mind sharing that, and just tell me what your thoughts on it is as far as risk to reward, if it's something you think smart to do or not smart to do. I'm open for criticism. If you could like this video, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see my last video, it was about a 48-hour water fast. I made it and put it over here. Hope you continue this self-improvement journey with me, and as always, better and better.